welcome back everyone to the show. It is Wednesday, November 22nd. We are one day away from Thanksgiving, so we want to wish everybody safe travels if they're traveling to or from wherever they're going to be for this Thanksgiving. And we really want to thank Saffie Joseph Jr. for joining us because, like we said before, it is one day before Thanksgiving, and he's already festive. He has decorations in the background, so thank you very much for joining us, Saffie.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. So we kind of want to dive into it, but we really want to start at the beginning because you're a third generation horseman. Your grandfather and your father trained horses before you?
Yeah, my granddad, but he owned and trained for a bit, and then my dad trained. But my granddad was probably in racing since 1940, 1950 in
Okay.
Trinidad and Barbados.
Okay. And so you're native of Barbados. I guess we want to talk a little bit about the horse that took you to the Barbados Triple Crown. Are you talking to me? Can you
Yeah, I
tell
mean,
us a little bit about him?
he was probably the first good horse I had in Barbados and in my career, basically. And fortunate that he came along at 22 years old, and we won the Triple Crown with him, and he kind of trained me how to become a trainer.
Okay. They always say the good ones make it look easy, huh?
Most definitely. I mean, you have a horse like those kind of horses, they overcome all kind of things, and they're just pure class, and they're easier to train than the ones that lack the ability for sure.
Yeah. And so while you were training him, did you have maybe thoughts like, okay, I'm gonna take my next step to America, to the United States?
Yeah, you always have dreams. I mean, that's what keeps you going in racing. There's so many ups and downs that you have to have dreams, and you're always looking forward. And the plan was to bring Are You Talking Me to America, but unfortunately, he was training one morning and a horse ran into him, and
Oh,
he got
geez.
an injury that he had a lot of time off for, and he still came back after to win races. But I already left Barbados, and we left him with one of my assistants there, and he did a good job of him and getting him back. But probably if that didn't happen, I may not have left Barbados. So I always
Okay.
look at everything as a blessing. That kind of sped up the process most definitely when that happened. And the rest is history.
Right. And so did you guys then come over in 2009 or did you come over in 2011? How does that kind of work?
No, I came over in 2011.
Okay.
2011 came over. We had two horses in Barbados that we had bought OBS so I brought those two up with us, and we took them to Ocala for a bit and
Okay.
stayed there and bought like four more 2-year-olds at the sales, and then came down to Calder. Basically, we couldn't get stalls at Calder at that time.
Hmm.
So we had to go to a place right next door to the training center, and we stayed there until we could get stalls.
Okay. And so I guess I want to talk to you about fast forward a few years, and you said you buy horses at OBS. Had you already been buying in Ocala at the OBS sale in 2011, or were you buying before that? Was your father buying?
Yeah, we bought horses before, my dad and myself, and we took them to Barbados.
Okay.
We would come out to the sales like a couple once a year and buy like one or two horses and take them back to Barbados. So we were familiar with the sales at that time.
Okay. And nowadays, like when you buy your babies, do you leave them here in Ocala to be broke, or um, do you have them with you? How does that work?
Yeah, the yearlings obviously they go to Ocala to get broken. The 2-year-olds depends on what kind of 2-year-old they're at. Some of them will come straight to the track, or some of them will give them like a month in Ocala to get over the stress of the sales. But it just depends on the horse.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, so I'm based here in Ocala. So I kind of know the area and I'm at the sales. I've seen you around at the sales, so it's nice to get an interview, but that's awesome. I want to talk to you about your Philly Honor D Lady. She was actually purchased for 40,000 as a weanling or a yearling, sorry, a yearling from Indian Creek. Did you help with that purchase of her?
No, she was purchased by Jim Thompson, her owner, and she was supposed to be a pinhook with Eddie Woods, and
Okay.
I think she didn't fetch the money that they wanted. So Jim buys a lot of pinhooks with Eddie Woods every year, and um, we happened to meet him, and he gave her a chance, give us a chance with her. That was
Okay.
pretty bad of him.
And she just won the Remington Oaks, and now she's in at Aqueduct for the what is it? The Calmly, the Grade 3 stakes. That's coming up this week. Are you going to fly into New York for that?
No, I will stay here. I'll stay in Florida for it. I mean, we got a lot going on right now, so my assistant will go up there for the race, and I'll stay here, and hopefully she'll run well.
Yeah, she comes off a great race in Remington. Is she stabled in Kentucky or is she in New York?
No, she came back to after Remington. She came back to Florida, and she was in Saratoga for the summer. Then she went shipped from Saratoga to Remington. Once she won there in Remington, she came back to Florida, and she shipped up on Tuesday to New York.
Oh, okay. So she's well traveled then.
Yeah, she's a pretty good traveler.
Yeah, that's great. Another one we'd like to talk about is Skippy Longstocking. So he just ran third in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. He did win the Charlestown Classic. What is next for him? Is he going to get some time off? Is he there in Florida with you?
Yeah, he came back to Florida. He flew back from California to Florida, and we gave him a little freshening. He's at Palmettos right now, and that's his base basically. And we're gonna go straight to the Pegasus with him.
Oh, that's great. Okay, cool. Yeah, a lot of our followers will be excited to hear that for sure. Okay. We have I'm going to throw this comment from Dave McKenna saying, with all the hundreds of winners Mr. Joseph has saddled for me, my favorite was when Math Wizard won the Pennsylvania Derby at 31-1. Can you tell us a little bit about that race?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite races too. Most definitely, we went there hoping to run third or fourth, and he jumped up that day and ran the race of his life. Got a great ride from Irad, and it was our first graded stakes win, and it was a grade 1, so on national TV. So it was a big moment in career, and forever grateful to Math Wizard. We claimed him for 25,000, and he basically took us all over. I mean, he's the first horse I ever traveled with, and I went everywhere with him to every race, and that was like a epic moment in my career up to then. And then he took us to the Breeders' Cup Classic, and he ran fifth in the Classic, and we were just as pleased with that run also.
Did he kind of surprise you?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, the horse you claim when we took him, he ran I think in the fourth in the Wood Memorial. After we claimed him for 25, I think at like 70-1, and he took us to the Ohio Derby, was second to Owendale, and Indiana Derby third, and then he ran a bit disappointing in West Virginia. We give him a little freshening, and he jumped up on Pennsylvania Derby that day, and he beat War of Will, the Preakness winner. He beat Spun to Run, who would go on and win the Breeders' Cup. So it was a race of his life, basically, and it definitely helped put horses in our barn.
Yeah, that's awesome. We have Ryan Tripp who said, I know Math Wizard was a long shot, but how confident were you that day heading into the Pennsylvania Derby? Irad Ortiz did an amazing job that day keeping Math Wizard in the clear and full of run.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say there was confidence. You always hope you're going to win races, but you kind of prepare yourself for the disappointments. So there was more hope, and you were hoping to run third. And I remember in the paddock, I mean, getting Irad was a plus, obviously, and I told Irad it's not impossible. So, and he gave him a great ride, obviously, and he was able to get the job done. So it was a moment that I could relive right now. I just think of it. It's not hard. It's not. You don't forget it. Put it that way.
Yeah, that's incredible. And what I remember watching, it was an incredible day. It was nice to see, just for the horse in general, because like you said, you claimed him and, he had so much success, which is so cool. I know we have we have a ton of comments for you. So here's another question from Trisha M. Saffie, surface wise, what's your training preference, poly, turf, or dirt?
Well, we train mainly on the dirt. We have the Tapeta here at Gulfstream, but we only get it for breezes basically. So we'll breeze a few horses, but mainly on dirt, and we'll breeze some at Palmettos on the turf. It's kind of basically I don't really have a preference. It's just whatever horse you have that suits the surface. Put it that way. And if you have horses that like the Tapeta, they'll run on it on race day, and as far as racing goes, dirt racing, the fastest horse probably wins most of the time. Whereas turf racing and Tapeta, it takes a lot more tactics, and you need to get the right kind of trip. So that's basically it, and as far as my regards for the surfaces.
Okay. And we have another shout out from Sean Nolan. Every time I see Saffie, it's always a pleasure, and he is all class. Wish him all the very best, always.
Thanks very much, Sean. Appreciate it.
And I want to echo those sentiments too, because traveling with TBG, I've run into Saffie a couple times. It's how we made the show, but same thing. All class.
Thank you.
And we have another shout out from Margot Hudson. She says, "Hey, Saffie," and she posts her airplane.
Margot, she flies all the horses for us. She organizes and does a great job of tech set and organizing all these flights. I mean, it's not easy to do. She makes it super easy for us.
Yeah, Margot's great. We had her on the show. I think it was about last week. So she's a friend of mine, and she does an incredible job. She's always up on everything, and when you call her, she answers the phone.
Most definitely.
Yeah, she does a fantastic job. Okay, let me see. I'm just going through all these comments. Everybody is just here's one from Grandma Horse Racing. Who is Saffie's favorite jockey? We're playing the jockey trainer angle.
Jockey, you get me in trouble. We have a lot of favorite jockeys, obviously. Edgar Zayas, he rides basically most of our winners because a lot of our horses run in Florida. He's our go-to rider down here, and we have a good relationship. He gives you a good opinion of a horse. He'll work them every week for us and give his opinion, and it makes a good team. And obviously Tyler, Gaffleon, Irad Ortiz. I mean, they're top riders. They rode some big winners for us. Jose Ortiz. So there's so many good riders out there. It's just like trainers. There's so many, and it's kind of you need to get the right horse as a trainer. You need to get the right horse as a jockey. So it's a game that there is very few. How do I put it? There's fine margins basically, and the horse is an important factor for everyone. That's the most important factor for the jockey, for the trainer, for everyone. So
while we're on the jockey comment, one of our friends here, Tyler Connor, he's one that you've given plenty of opportunities to too. Talk about that relationship and how that came about.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Tyler win that race at it was at Penn 2 years ago or last year, either last year or the year before. And one time we needed a rider at Gulfstream to come in. We had some horses running, and he gave him a ring and his agent, and they were gracious enough to come down. And from then we started a relationship, and he started riding horses for us. Very nice person, a lot of class, and I think he's a rider with a bright future. And as I said, people have given me opportunities to get where we are today, and in racing, you need the opportunity. There's no hero in this game. That's anybody that tells you they're a hero, they're lying to you, because it is the horse, and the good trainers have good horses, and the good riders need to ride good horses. So people need opportunities to show their talent, and we try to give people the opportunity when it presents itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course. We have another shout out. I'll throw this up there. Crafty Player 69 says, "Hey, Saffie, you did an awesome job with the horse I owned, Eskin Girl. Thank you."
Thank you.
I think we have more. Hold on. Here we go. Ryan Tripp, is there a particular race upcoming that you are looking forward to more than others?
Right now, the Pegasus. It's the closest race around the corner, Grade 1, that we think we have a good chance of winning. And we got Skippy Longstockings and O'Connor. The way things are kind of unfolded, a lot of horses have retired and horses are going different ways. So we feel like we have a good chance to win that.
Okay. Great. Let me see. A Crafty Player said she meant Escan Lady. Yeah. Okay. He knew.
One of our foals now, yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right. You trained one of the foals?
Yeah, one of the siblings, yeah.
Okay, that's really cool.
Porsche's Sweetheart is her name.
Okay. I wanted to talk about what are some of the training differences between Barbados and here?
Well, Barbados is all dirt, grass racing. So it was you trained on the dirt and you ran on the grass and the track is a smaller track, is a 3/4 track, so like a bull ring on the grass basically. So before we came to America, we never trained dirt horses, and that was kind of a something that we were going to have to learn to do. And ironically, when we came up here, our first winner was a horse named Artefacto. That's one we bought from Barbados, that we bought at OBS. His first race was on the grass, and it rained off at Calder, and he won. And then his first 3 wins was actually on the grass, and it rained off. So all 3 of our wins came on the dirt, and actually took us a while to win our first turf race in America.
That's a touchy subject over here too, because it seems like a lot of places they only run turf. Do you think that is just the safer way to go, and that's something that we should eventually do?
I mean, turf is obviously safer than dirt, and then you got the Tapeta that's proven to be the safest surface of all. So it just depends. American racing is dirt racing. That's what American racing has built their foundation on and their pedigrees on. And unfortunately, dirt racing is tougher on the horse. So it's a tough, a sensitive subject, especially for everybody in the industry as far as the breeding industry goes. Because if you were to switch to only turf racing and synthetic, then you would definitely affect the breed of the advantage that the Americans have on in dirt racing. The Europeans who are class above in pedigrees for the turf, and as you see, the last synthetic race that they had on the Breeders' Cup, the Europeans won. So it's something I don't think will happen in the near future because of the breed, basically.
Right.
Somebody had a shout out. My girlfriend and I met Saffie at Monmouth Park on Haskell Day a couple years ago. Very down to earth guy, humble, and was easy to talk to. One of the nicest guys in the industry.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Well, the other thing that's happened the last couple of years that's a little controversial is HISA. What do you think about that and where we're going with all that?
HISA, I'm for it. I'm for HISA. They need to get things corrected, obviously, and I'm for having the same medication rules in all different states. It's for a trainer. It's much easier that way. Before you're running in different states, and each track had a different medication rules, and you'd ask your vets like, hey, what protocols we need to follow, and sometimes the vets wouldn't even have the answers, and they'll call vets in that jurisdiction, and it was basically a guessing game. So definitely for HISA to have universal medication rules. They've made some errors to start off on, but what I do like is give Lisa Lazarus credit is that they've been correcting them, and I think as long as they stay open-minded and unfair and transparent, it is the way that we need to go. I mean, I know they've got things wrong, and it should have been probably dealt with before it got into play, but it was kind of pushed into play as in they wanted to get it in. And obviously when you do that kind of stuff, you're going to have a slippery road at the beginning, but they have been proactive in correcting their mistakes, and hopefully they'll continue to do it. But I am for HISA. I endorse HISA.
And one thing they're doing that needs to be fixed, and you've been involved with, Churchill has the same thing, is this whole you're guilty before innocent thing. What do you think about that? Shouldn't they flip that and at least give people a chance to speak for themselves before suspending?
Yeah, I would hope what happened to me at Churchill would be a big learning industry for the whole industry. They hung me up dry and crucified me. So it was something that was hard for me to deal with. It's something that scarred me like in life, but I always moved forward, and like coming out of it, as I said, we didn't miss a beat as far as going forward. We kept all our momentum through it all, and won a ton of big races during the whole time. And I feel like, as I said, it scarred me mentally, but it's something that my faith became much more stronger, and I have no regrets. So like it's made me stronger. And one thing, if I want to one thing I would like to bring out of it is that I hope people will learn that it will never be done again to anybody, because a lot of people may not be able to handle it, and that's what I wouldn't want it to happen to anyone else again. So I hope that we become objective instead of being subjective, and it was they got it wrong, and unfortunately, like the truth prevailed, and you move forward. I mean, you move forward, but you try to be a proactive and not letting it happen to anybody else. And that's my voice, is to make sure that it doesn't happen to anyone else in a year or 2 years going forward.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we live in such a negative world with horse racing. If a jockey's winning at a high percentage, he's using a buzzer. If a trainer's winning at a high percentage, he's cheating, he's doing something. There is never any, hey, Saffie, you're doing a great job winning. It's always, what are you doing that you're winning that way? And it's just a negative world we live in, especially in horse racing.
Yeah, I mean, you get people that that's what social media creates. You get people behind the keyboard that could say a lot of things, and then in person they can't say those things. So it's a small people that voice those things, but I think that starts within the industry. I think the industry itself is its own detriment. You have people that have been not success in the industry, and then they spread these innuendos to people that believe them or are gullible to believe them, and then that's what they run with, that kind of story. And so I think the industry is its biggest hurtful person to itself, but it starts from the top. The top of the industry is not transparent. It needs to be transparent. And there's different rules for different folks, and that's why I'm for having universal rules, and I'm for having rules that are fair for everyone. And you can't have rules for someone and not have them for someone else. And as I said, there's a lot that I've experienced in life, and a lot that hasn't been said, but I know it, and I could say it because I've experienced it. And I know that the industry needs to become more transparent if they're going to have the success.
Absolutely. And then the last thing people want me to ask you, and we'll skim over it real quick. Obviously, the white Abarrio thing. Your feelings on that and what the horse has done.
I mean, this is the way I look at it. So white Abarrio came in my barn. As I said, the owners at that point, they weren't even going to me, and someone referred me, and that's how I got the horse. So if I didn't, I may have not even got him from the start. So what's for me is for me. He was able to give me a Grade 1 win. He was able to give me take us to the Kentucky Derby, and he was a horse that we enjoy having. On the last race that we ran him in the allowance, we felt that we backtracked and we needed to get that confidence booster, and we thought we had him going forward the right way. I mean, he was entered to run at Belmont the day before, and we actually scratched him to take him to a Grade 1 at Churchill. And obviously, you know the rest of that. He got scratched at Churchill because when they suspended me wrongfully. So we lost him because of that, and he's gone on to be the horse he is. You can never look at regrets. It's like telling you that you have your kid, and your kid gets taken away from you because you've done something wrong that you haven't done. And then are you going to wish your kid wrong? No, you're not going to. You're going to ride for your kid. You know what I mean? Would you like to be in the position of having him? Most definitely, but it wasn't meant to be. So you don't sit here and make excuses. People want you to make excuses, but when you make excuses, you fall behind. So we continue forward, and we're thankful for the horses we have. We have a lot of support. We have a lot of good owners, and we're gonna have horses as good and better going forward.
Do you have any 2-year-olds that you're excited about that might get involved in the Triple Crown next year?
Yeah, we have 2 colts that seem pretty useful. They both won first time out, but they're gonna have to do it again. Merritt, he's on the Derby odds. His name is Merritt. He won first time out by 10. And then we have a next colt named Catalytic that seems quite useful so far. So they won their debut nicely. Their next race is going to be their big race as far as facing winners for the first time. And then if they can do that and pass that test, then we'll get them on the Derby trail and try to pick some good spots for them.
With all the traveling you do, how often do you actually get to be at home in Florida there?
Well, in the summer, that's the busiest time for us. I'm on the road most of the summer. But after that, like now, it kind of settles back down where all of our horses are going to come back to Florida at the end of this month. So as everything comes back into one base, basically, until some of them will still ship out. But from basically now to like April we're mainly in Florida, and I enjoy being here. Actually, it's the nicest part of Florida this time of the year. The weather is amazing. It's not as hot.
Ryan Troy Tripp says about travel tracks open tomorrow on Thanksgiving. Do you have any entered anywhere?
No, we had one on the AA. He's not in, so we have nothing tomorrow.
And what do you think about that? I've seen a lot of people comment about that. There's I don't know, 6, 7 tracks and big name tracks running tomorrow. Why can't we go one day without horse racing and have everybody with their family? What do you think about that?
I mean, I guess it's how each person does that. I know Gulfstream doesn't run anymore on Thanksgiving, but when I first came called, they would run a kind of card. But I guess it's to each person how they feel. That you would think they could get away without running on Thanksgiving Day, but I guess also people have things to watch and they like to watch horse racing, so they sit at home and bet on the races.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some? Go ahead, Betty.
I think it would be the same thing as like there's a football game, there's always a Thanksgiving football game. So everybody's kind of like at home. If if you are at home with your family and you're watching horse racing and you're betting, and so that bet handle might be up for that day for, whatever tracks that are running, and everybody's going to watch the football game too. It's like a tradition. Now, the people that are, working that day, I sympathize with them, but I don't know. It's a tradition almost.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think it's money, but it's the same as having people work retail on Thanksgiving or Black Friday and how that's kind of back down. We talk about jockey mental health. What about the trainer's mental health as well, Saffie? You guys work every day, correct?
Most definitely, and they do talk about it. They talk about horse health and jockey health and trainers. Most trainers it's a tough game for a trainer. I've been there at the beginning, like when you don't have horses and you're not getting owners and you're doing everything that, but you're not getting noticed. And I echo for people that are in the same spot that I was. It's very tough to make it as a trainer. Most trainers are struggling. There's no two ways about that. They're struggling financially and they're doing it because they love it. You know what I mean? And they do it and they keep going because they have a dream and they have a hope. And that's what keeps you going in the industry. It's a tough industry. It's a tough industry to survive in. For the trainers, for the jockeys, I said, a lot of jockeys are talented. And I mean, there's only so many chances you could give because you only have so many horses. And you gotta, it's hard in that aspect. But I guess you got to keep trying and eventually keep doing right. And the opportunities will come.
What do you think your biggest strength is as a trainer?
Biggest strength, don't give up. That's it. Don't give up. Have faith in God and keep going. As I said, there was times before we even got going and got success where you were on the brink of you were gonna crack. As in, you didn't think it was gonna happen. You couldn't see light at the end of the tunnel, and you kept going, and it happens. And that's if that's anything I could tell anybody is don't give up. You're gonna have moments where you feel like you're gonna crack and you can't make it and do something else. But you can't do this unless you love it. So if you're doing it for the check, don't do it for the check. You gotta do it because you love it, and eventually everything else will do right, and it'll work out. Everything will work itself out.
I'm gonna bring up this question, and I'll also ask you, how many horses do you have in your barn right now?
We have like 150, 160 horses. So we fluctuate. I mean, some get claimed and so on, but we always have more horses coming in from owners. And I said, you need the owners. We have a good core of owners, and it's a well spread out database of owners, and that's what we need.
Would you want more horses than that, or is that about where you want to be? And obviously, I don't think you agree with, should there be a limit on how many horses are in a barn?
Yeah, so I see that question on the screen now. So this is the thing. It's kind of changed the industry. A trainer can't really survive training 20 and 30 horses anymore, on 40 horses. The economics just don't work. And if when you're training 30 and 40 horses and you get fired from two owners, say they have 8, 9 horses, but all of a sudden you're down to 20, a couple horses get hurt, you're down to 15. It's not easy to go back up. So that's the big difference in this game. When you have a good spread out set of owners and you're at 120, 130, you could have a couple owners say move, because owners are always switching. They're always a lot of owners are switching. They're always looking for who's hot and who's not. And you got to stay relevant. You got to keep winning. For as long as you keep winning, you're going to have owners wanting to be in your barn. And thankfully, we have a good core, good team, and we continue to do well. So we get owners. But I echo, and as I said, I've been there, done that, and it's hard for new trainers or young trainers coming up in the game to get chances. It's very hard. It's not.
How often do you see each horse?
Each horse, I see each horse a couple times a week. We have our days set up between our barns. one in Florida between Palmettos and Gulfstream, so we rotate it like daily.
Here's a question for you. Hughes 18 Red said, when is your son Rocco going to start riding your horses?
I don't know when he's gonna start riding. He's obsessed with it right now. But he may get too big to ride horses. But he has a dream, so we're not gonna crush his dream at the moment. He's been going to the barn the last couple of days, and I'm kind of proud of him because he went last week to Gulfstream, which is closer. We live close to Gulfstream, and then I said if he did Gulfstream again, we could go to Palmettos. And he next week he woke up again early and he made it. So now he's allowed to go to Palmettos on Saturday for breezes.
That's great. How old is he?
He's 7.
Oh, geez. Oh, yeah. So I'm sure he walks around with a whip in his hand.
Every day he wants to wear the silks to the races, and sometimes I tell him you can't do that every
day. People got to see you change your outfit. Yeah. I have a question, or I guess I just want to state that, like, obviously your faith is taking over because you're winning at 22% and you're in the money 52%. And do you think that's all faith, or do you just have like great staff that works, diligently, is there every day? What do you think, the success to that is? What's the key?
Staff. You need staff and horses, and there's no two ways about it. If you don't have great staff and great horses, you can't do it. And the staff are a big part. As I said, my name's Dung, but I'm a small piece to a big puzzle. And we've got great help, great riders, assistant trainers, grooms, and the whole team, hot walkers. You need good help. You can't do it without the help. There's no two ways about it. Can't give them enough credit for the job that they do, and it's a never-ending job. Basically, things are always happening. You always have to change and work extra, and they make the success possible. Without your staff and the horses, a trainer is nothing.
Yeah, I agreed. It's a lot of thankless hours, and but you do it, like you said, because you're so passionate about it. You love the horses and you love them, when they cross the finish line and come back and get in the winner's circle. So you have to be passionate about it to be able to do it. And you're obviously doing it very well. Your win percentage is 52% in the money. So congratulations to you on that. It's amazing.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
On the days when you're traveling, like when I see you at Parks on PA Derby Day and stuff like that, how much is your phone blowing up with the horses all over the other places?
Yeah, we have a good system where everything is sent through text to us from the assistants. Like, whether it be videos of the horses training or problems that they have, and so everything's kind of like stored data that once I get a little break, I can just go through and review it. And as I said, we've got good staff and they understand the system and how to get things going.
You have a favorite track that you like to visit?
Favorite track. Let me think.
It's like your normal ones, but ones that you don't get to visit as often.
I'm thinking right now. You put me on. I have favorite tracks. Like, let me see where I like Saratoga. I mean, it's obviously it is what it is, and everybody likes Saratoga. But I like Saratoga. Where else do I like? Keeneland's nice. I didn't get there this year, but Keeneland's a nice track. Gulfstream's our home track, obviously, and you like it. But I think you kind of take it for granted when you're there every day. I mean, you don't really appreciate it as much because you're there and it becomes normal. But I remember when I was on holiday one time from Barbados, I knew a groom that was working for a Canadian barn, and I was probably like 18 or 19, and he took me into the backside of Gulfstream, just to go through the backside of the barns. I felt like I was in heaven. You know what I mean? So, and then I used to go to the races when I was younger there, and so it's a beautiful track. But you're there every day, so you kind of don't appreciate it as much as you should. You know what I mean?
Right, but how much different is it when the championship meet starts up, though?
I mean, it's the same. Obviously, there's a lot more people in town. The races get more competitive, so you gotta be tight on them. But the crowds are bigger, and that's always more fun when you have more people at the races. I think that makes everyone more happy when you have crowds, and it's a good. The weather is great, so you enjoy it.
Here's a question, and you keep bringing up the staff and how great of a staff you have. You have about 150, 160 horses. How much staff do you have?
It's close to 100. Close to 100. I would say between 90 to 105, probably approximately, give or take.
Wow.
Here, I think you might have answered this one, kind of your 2-year-old's getting started, but so any horses I should be looking at in the near future from Grandma Horse Racing?
Well, the two goals that seem to show promise are Catalytic and Merit. We have a filly also named our Harper Rose. She's 3 for 3. She's going to run in the next series of the Stallion Stakes. She's very fast. We're going to stretch her out next week and see how she does stretching out, but probably may end up being a pretty good sprinter down the line against better kind of horses. Her class probably will get her through next week, but she might be best going one turn. And then we have a next filly that won first time also named Candy Gray. So we got a couple of useful 2-year-olds that they have to go forward to the next start and prove themselves.
Okay. And then Trisha M asked, ever been to Hong Kong or Ascot?
No, never been to Hong Kong. Look at the racing and on TV, and it looks amazing. Been to Ascot, been to Royal Ascot a few times growing up when I was younger, probably like 13, 14. Used to go with my dad to the races over there, and it's amazing just to be able to bet the races, like how they have all the bookies on the grounds, and you can shop around for different odds, and I think that makes it unique and fun over there.
That's really cool. Somebody had asked, have you ever galloped any of your own horses? Have you rode? Did you ride when you were younger?
No, I'm too big to ride. But actually, when I was younger, like when you're young, you have the dream, but not gallop. But when I was like 9, 10, I mean, not gallop horse on the track. I used to ride in Barbados. The horses, the grooms would throw me up and let me jog them around and so on. But I wasn't supposed to do that. My dad would get pissed off if he ever taught me. But and then we were going to the beach in Barbados. They had we would retire our horses to like a guy that had a things for tourists. He would take the race horses and let them become like trail rides for tourists. And me and my friend would get the horses and go and gallop them up and down the beach. Kind of, you think of it now, it's kind of crazy, but when you're young and you're fearless and you're wild, so you do those things.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know. So I rode races with Patrick Husbands, and he's one of my, obviously he's from Barbados, so he's one of my favorite, I guess, Barbadian people that I get to talk to all the time. He's such a great person. He actually went on a horse that I had breezed in Barbados. His name was Stirwins. So Eugene Melnick owned him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he won the Gold Cup, and I breezed him I think it was about a week before he went across, and it was pretty special to me. He was a great horse, and then he went over there and won, and is kind of epic.
Yeah, that was a great Gold Cup. I was in that Gold Cup. Are you talking to me? Stirwins won, and then Bribon ran second for Coolmore, and Johnny Murter, he rode him. So that was probably one of the best Gold Cups as far as quality horses that year.
Yeah, he was just a laid back, cool horse when he shipped over. So that was pretty cool. I didn't know you were in that race, though. Yeah. That's awesome.
I was thinking when you said you were too big to get on the horses, did you ever think of doing like a PDLO and do some kind of charity and get in one of the sulkies?
No, that looks fun. I don't know. It looks funny. You got to be like you get older and you get less brave. So it does look fun to drive the trotters, most definitely. But I always wanted, as I said, you wanted to be a jockey when you're young, and then once it became realistic, I always wanted to be a trainer, and that was my goal from life and dream. And I'm living my dream basically, and I'm thankful for it and blessed.
How much directions do you give jockeys in the paddock?
It depends. I try not to give too much. I think if I'm giving too much, maybe it's just nerves talking. But most of the time, you give them, they don't listen anyway. But the race doesn't unfold that way. But only if a horse kind of has a pet kind of peeve as far as idiocracy that you want to tell the jockey about. Other than that, you want to kind of leave it to them. So many times the race doesn't unfold the way you want to think, and that's their job, is to adjust accordingly.
Well, I always love asking trainers that question. Talk about some of your barn favorites or your barn horses that have those idiocracies or little strange things.
Yeah, I mean, each horse has a unique way that you get along with. Like one of my favorite horses in the barn now is not even He's not even a stake horse. He's going to run in a claiming crown, so you could say he's that. But his name is Concrete Glory. He's a horse we claimed for 62.50, and I just like his personality. The way it's just something about him I like, and it's hard to describe. But I was telling somebody this the other day, like he's not. We have a lot of stake horses in the barn, but yet every time I see him, like I just want to be with him, the horse. And I don't know if I just appreciate how he tries, but he's, as I said, he has some unique thing about him, and he has a special place that always makes me want to visit him.
Do you have any of those mean horses that don't really want to be touched or anything?
Yeah, I wouldn't say you get too many of them now. I find the horses in America are more calm than they are in the Caribbean, and the way I kind of put it down to is they're less aggressive over here, is because maybe the grooms in Barbados, they brush on them a lot, and they kind of maybe get them agitated. But the horses over here are much more reserved and calm. And I mean, you get the odd mean one, but we don't have many mean ones. I wouldn't say so.
I think the fillies and the mares just tend to have just more of an attitude, but that makes them, quality racehorses.
Yeah, I mean, most definitely. The fillies, they're all, some of them all obviously too. They're more, you have to get into their mind, keep them happy. It's kind of like a woman. You keep her happy, they're going to give you their all. Yeah. And they're probably more genuine too than the colts, you know what I mean? Yeah. I would think if the fillies are more genuine, they're always going to, once they're happy, they're going to give you their all. Similar to kind of gelding, whereas the colt kind of gets a little wise, and some of them, and they may not give you their best.
I'm sure Grandma Horse Racing, one of our people that watch faithfully, will ask, getting ready to type, yeah, here she is. Filly on filly theory. Do you think that women jockeys do better with the fillies than the male jockeys?
I don't know. I think some women riders have a finesse that horses run for them. We've been riding a girl recently named Skylar Spanable because she came over, she asked for a chance, and I like that she was brave enough to ask for a chance, and we give her. She showed up to work every week. She didn't miss a week, basically to breeze the horses, and she's made the most of our opportunities. I think she's probably won like maybe at 40% for us, and our ROI is huge. She wrote a winner for us at like 35-1. So she I don't know why why the horse to run for her. I had a filly that named Quali that was training well, wasn't running good, and put Skylar on her, and she, on race day, and she won at 35-1. She came back the other day and just got beaten a 2-level allowance. So it's some horses, they run better when you stay out of their way, and maybe they're more quiet on them. But
I have noticed who you said about giving Skylar a chance. I see these jockeys that get the chance with the better horse, and they try their heart out, especially for second or third, where some of these big name jockeys, they do it every day. They have these mounts. They may not try as much. So it's always good to see that as well.
Yeah, I think most of the riders, they'll give you their best basically, to ride to their best ability. I mean, sometimes the horses, it's harder to judge when you watch. Sometimes you're judging and you think a rider's not giving you the best, but the horse may not be feeling 100% Tim, and he doesn't want to push him to. There's a fine line with pushing the horse or kind of just taking it easy on him the last bit. I always appreciate a rider if one of my horses are beaten. I don't want you to hit on him and ride him to, like, in other words, run 5th or 6th. Like, I rather you take care of him and be. There's always going to be another day ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great answer. And with the HISA rules now, you can't have more than 6 strikes. So you're kind of looking to hand ride, be a little bit stronger with your hand riding ability down the lane than with your strikes.
Yeah, you're only allowed 6 strikes now, and each one over is a fine. We saw it depends on the purse, obviously, and I think if you go 10, you're disqualified from the win. So you gotta be careful with how many times you use the crop.
Yeah, you have to be very conscious. Do you think that affects some of your riders, kind of your older riders, when they're coming to the wire, that they're kind of counting? Do you think that might affect them a little bit?
Yeah, I think it definitely is in their mind, but the more they've done it, they adjust accordingly. Like, for instance, if you watch Irad now, his style, he kind of, I've been noticed that he kind of, like, he kind of gives like 3, like, he shows the whip and then he goes to the whip. and then he'll do it like 3 more times. I think that's probably his way of controlling that he doesn't go over the level. But so he's made some adjustment with the way he actually rides because of that. So it's definitely in their mind. It's a hard thing to keep track of. I mean, you're going 6 and 7, and it's one over, and it's tough on the riders. I mean, you're they're having to make split-second decisions, and then you have to keep that. So you got to give them credit because most of them have been adapting to it quite well.
Speaking of those with the rules and the changing, what about the stewards? I believe it was you where Tyler Connor a couple months ago went and won a stakes race and you disqualified him. Was that your horse, right?
Yeah, that was at Woodbine. We won it.
Do you think because you guys were visitors, like if that was a Woodbine regular, I do not think you guys would have got DQ'd at all. Like he was clear when he started drifting.
Yeah, so we did come out on I thought it should have stayed up, but again, you're dealing with opinion. I would say, in my opinion, and I try to look at it unbiased, like I would say it would have stayed up probably like 7 or 8 times out of 10.
Yeah,
but that's the steward's opinion on the day, and you got to respect it because nothing's going to change it. You know what I mean? You don't agree with it, but you respect it and you move forward. But that's one thing they need to get consistent to all over is for the even for the better and the handicapper, because you have one track the horse is taken down today because he affected placing, and then the other track he's not taken down because they're not doing it on placings, and then you get this big inconsistency all around, and then nobody knows what to expect. And the key is consistency. That's what you need. So it's something that HISA should look into to creating some kind of rule that the stewards can follow on basically be consistent in all jurisdictions.
right. And we actually had a viewer that said, why can't they be like the NFL and they go to a booth where it's the same 3 or 4 people and they're watching the replays and they're making the decisions? Because if you get the same 3 or 4 people doing it, you're going to at least know where the rules stand.
Most definitely. With technology today, that's quite easy to do and implement. So it is something that needs to move forward and become more consistent. As I said, over here in America, they're supposed to be following the placing rule, as if you cost a horse a placing, you get DQ'd. Whereas the European model is only if that horse was going to beat you. So say the horse wins the race and you interfere with the horse and stop that horse from running third, the winner is not going to get DQ'd, because that rule is to protect the horse and to protect the gambler, which I'm more for that rule overall. You know what I mean? But whatever rule you choose to go, you have to be consistent. You can't have it one way today and the next day not. So that's something that needs to be worked out on most tracks.
Absolutely. I know we're going over the time here, so I have 2 more questions than whatever Betty has. My one question is, do you bet on your own horses?
No, I don't bet on my horses.
You're already betting, right?
Yeah, it's hard enough to win, and I want to win bad enough, and then you bet and you lose. You feel worse both ways. But I like if I never now we run so many horses. I do enjoy, like, if I go to the races some days and we're not running horses, you sit down and you bet on the other races. But no, people say, why wouldn't you bet on your horse? You have a more advantage. And I said, no, I don't want to put more weight on them. It's hard enough to win, so let's try to win.
And then we'll take horse racing aside and we'll get to know Saffie Joseph Jr., the person, more. When you're not doing horses, which I know is probably 20 hours of your day and you might sleep 4, but when you get that half hour or whatever, what are you doing for fun?
Horses. Horses are my fun when I'm not doing horses, and it's crazy. You know what I mean? The other time probably with my kids and family, but it's horses. This is my fun. As I said, you have to do. You got to be all in on. Like, people want to go somewhere, go to a bar, or do this or do that. I want to read the form or watch replays or look through videos of the horses jogging early in the day and try to get better. So this is what I enjoy. I enjoy when I'm doing it, when I'm not doing it.
So tomorrow during Thanksgiving, you're watching horse racing?
I wouldn't say I'm watching racing. I'm watching my horse.
Okay.
Like, I don't watch as much. Like, I very rarely today. I don't watch much racing unless I have a horse running, basically. I mean,
Okay.
but I'm watching my horses or reading the form or looking at, or reading articles or reading studies to try to get better. So it's always with horses.
I actually don't have anything. I think it was a great interview, and I really appreciate your transparency and getting on with us. I know tomorrow is Thanksgiving, so we really appreciate your time. And I just hope to see you at the 2-year-old and training sales. I'll track you down because I know I see you out there. I just never and you come you stop by some of the barns that I breeze horses for. So
you're in Niles barn, right?
Yeah.
They
I breeze for Nile. Yeah, he's one of my clients, and they usually make me show a couple horses. So, or the one that I really like, I'm showing. So yeah.
I lie. I do have one more question. I'm surprised nobody asked this. How long does it take you to do your hair in the morning?
My hair, no hair. I just put it in a what do you call it? Not a zip tie, a hair tie, and get rolling.
Did you ever see the trumpet player from? I believe it's FanDuel Horse Racing. The track. He has hair like They say he looks like you.
Oh, I think someone sent me that one time.
Yeah, there you go.
Someone sent me a picture on a text one time. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then that's all we got. I appreciate it, Saffie. I'll definitely see you around the track, and if we can do it again down the line, we would definitely appreciate it.
Anytime. Thanks for having me on. Have a good
Yeah,
night.
thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you in March, OBS.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Saffie.
Hey, Sean. Well, that was a great interview. I'm super excited that he was able to jump on, and we just had so many great questions for him. And
yeah,
awesome.
That was great. Apparently you're frozen. I thought it might be when I'm driving, but you're apparently been frozen. And I apologize for not letting you know.
Oh, how long have I been frozen for?
I think for a while. I thought when I was driving it was just me driving, but I think you're frozen.
Oh no.
So, oh. Yeah, there's still a picture of you there. You're just not, we hear you. We see your face. You're just not moving, so.
Well, that is a bummer. I wish somebody would have commented.
Yeah, unless if it's just on my end. I don't know. The cam didn't show a whole time. I don't know what he means by that, if he's talking about you or what, but yeah, it's all right. We hear you. We see a picture of you, so it's okay. Yeah, Terry says can't see her.
That's
I apologize. If I wasn't on my phone, I would have let you know, but as soon as I'm on my phone, I had a hard time doing anything else, so.
Can they see me now or probably not?
No, you're frozen. I don't know why. Oh, apparently you're a black box the whole show. Do you have hit your camera? Close your camera.
Where would my camera be?
That's why Grandma. Well, I was witness protection because I was out to eat and got stuck at dinner. So, unfortunately, I just didn't make it home in time.
Is that me? Can you see me now?
No. That's okay. We're going to wrap up the show, so it's okay. We hear your voice. We see. Like I said, if I wasn't on the phone, I'd been able to tell you, but being on the phone, I had limited options here. I apologize. Sometimes life gets in the way and we're a little late for the show, rushing here. But I appreciate Saffie coming on, and he also answered the tough questions. So really appreciate that, because we're not here to do that. We're not here to ask I know people want us to ask the tough questions all the time, but we're really here to promote people in the sport and promote the sport itself. So really appreciate Saffie willing to answer any question that we had.
Yeah, for sure. Like he said, he's super transparent and he wants to see everybody succeed.
Yeah. And like I said, I've seen him at the track, and everybody who's commented seen him at the track. I'm sure, Betty Joe, when you see him at the sale, you're going to think totally the same as what on the show tonight. I mean, he's real easy to talk to when you see him at the track. So if you guys ever see him at the track, just say hi. He'll talk to you.
Yeah, for sure.
And then that's all we have. We'll be back next week. I'll be releasing the schedule on at Horse Race Today, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. I'm not sure if the guys are doing a show tomorrow or not. Obviously, there is racing, but we all have families and stuff too, so I'm not sure if they're doing a show or not. But again, pay attention to our social medias. Give us a thumbs up, a love on YouTube, Facebook. Whoever has done that so far, we really appreciate it. other than that, have a good Thanksgiving. Betty Joe, thank you again. You're doing a great job, and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family as well.
Yeah, you too.
And then other than that, I'm going to find where we're going to log off here. But we will see you in the
winner's circle.